Wednesday, September 1st, 2021, 5 p.m. This budget workshop for the Board of Commissioners is called to order. City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Mayor Hendricks.
Here.
Vice Mayor Price. Here. Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Andrews.
Here.
Commissioner Hudson.
Here.
It's time now for public comment. I don't know that there's anyone here in the audience other than staff. If there's any staff that wants to make a public comment, now is your chance. Nope. Okay, next on topics for discussion is fiscal year 2022 budget review. Mr. Laughlin, would you like to take the reins on this?
Sure, thank you. So first, my apologies for a last-minute update. I wanted to, as I sent you all an email with the revised version that contains formatting changes. We printed it on nice white paper, so hopefully you can read it better. We've consolidated option 1, 2, and 3 onto one tab into one sheet, so you can kind of see those differences from the current to option 1, 2, and 3. And then also some couple formulas that I noted in the first one that were off, fixed those, and then a few other miscellaneous adjustments. So let me first, so because I know that wasn't the version that you reviewed, let's walk through what those changes were so you know that there's integrity between preliminary version that you reviewed and what you have. So the first version that you reviewed, you might have noticed option 1, for example, that difference was $155,000 and now it's $199,000. So let me explain what that $44,000 difference is. So you know, okay, well, I reviewed one and now it's $44,000 different. What happened? So the larger changes that were made. So one, I increased the city manager. He was at 125 in all 3 scenarios. In the first version you had, now I bumped that up to 135 because that's based on the conversation that was had last week that the city manager would be offered 135,000. So that was the new salary for option 1, option 2, option 3. Wasn't in your first version. So there's $10,000. There's a couple others. One individual, Mr. Johnson, Senior Public Works Tech. In your first version, he was making $17.34. In early August, he received a pay increase up to $19. That's roughly $3 almost difference. You multiply that by 2080, now you're at a little over $6,000 difference. So that caused that change. There's a senior a permit technician. That individual is now highlighted in your new version. A permit clerk, Schuerman. So that now is highlighted brownish orange, whatever color that is, in your new version on the employee listing page. That person was at 15. Now we're in your previous version. There was just an increase from 15. Based on the pay scale, but now that since that person is going from part-time at 1,040 hours a week, we've now bumped that to 2080 because Frank's, the building official's desire is to move that person to a full-time role. So now we're doubling that. Instead of 1040 hours, that's 2080 hours, and instead of 15, it's now 19 fixed under all 3 options. So that doubling that person's pay plus the increasing from 15 to 19 causes a pretty significant jump, probably 10,000 and change. And then that plus there's about a $7,000 difference in benefits. So increasing benefits, which is that 18%, that gets you roughly close to that $44,000 difference. So just want to know we're not trying to pull any fast ones, and now you're wondering why is this thing $44,000 difference. What I just highlighted to you are the primary culprits of that probably make up over 90% of what that difference is.
Okay. Andrew, the $6 an hour, that was just given in August, like maybe 30 days ago, but not much more than 30 days ago. Where is that?
No, that wasn't six, that was, the individual's pay rate was $17.34. That was an error. That should have been $19 flat.
Yeah, but they just got the 19. Oh, and that's why it says 19 across the board here. They're not going to get an increase under any circumstances, right? We still talking about the permit clerk?
No, the permit clerk is flat 19. That person we're proposing will get, that person's currently at 15. I think the proposal is for that person to get to bump up on 10-1 to 19.
Okay.
I think the other individual received a bump because that person was promoted to a senior level, if I'm not mistaken.
But correct me, or I've misunderstood something. Did I misunderstand you to say that person just got a $6 an hour raise last month? Is that correct?
No, I think what I said was $6,000 is that impact on this document. It was a $2 and change increase times 2,080 hours a year is a dollar impact of that current rate error that was in your first packet.
Somebody did just get an increase in August, or 6 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, and I would say you don't get one after the other. I would say you wait a year to get your next raise.
Right. So who is the person, and let's make that change. Because these things tend to slide through, you know?
Yep.
Okay, I think that's Mr. Johnson. He's about 2/3 of the way down on the first page. And he's still showing, unfortunately, he's still showing 17.
Can I make a correction? It's not Craig Johnson. It's Taylor Plimpton.
Oh, sorry, wrong person.
Okay.
And that person, I said, was not getting an increase because of the bump. So it was just, if it's on that sheet, it's not correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got to find that person.
All right, yeah, not Johnson, it was Plimpton, and that person is 19, but we did do the increases, so we'll make sure that stays at 19. And so that should have been highlighted orange.
Plimpton, okay.
Oh, okay. So,
Okay.
so that's
Thank you.
going to change to 19.
19 in all three scenarios, yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. I think probably it should be policy that we're giving increases on an annual basis rather than giving someone a raise in July or August. I mean, there can be exceptions, but I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, we shouldn't be giving raises the month before we do across-the-board increases in any stretch. I think next year we need to redo this completely anyway, as far as how this gets done.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
The only thing is, in July and August, we're in September, we still don't know what pay raises we're giving, so we really wouldn't know. But I agree with you, it should, negate that opportunity for a pay raise in September. But we might not know what the pay raises are going to be in July.
Well, somebody knows that they're giving a pay raise.
Can I make an extra?
We're discussing
On that person was switched from sanitation to public works, so that was the reason. It's not in the same department, it was a department change.
it wasn't just a raise. It was
Correct.
a position change and
Position
everything.
change.
Okay.
Okay,
I just wanted to make an extra.
Yeah, I just want to
Thank
be sure we've got a process we go through rather than, just all of a sudden having people getting raises in July or August and again in October.
Understood.
And, to that point, we do know they will get a raise in October. We just don't know how much it'll be, right?
Well, now we know that, but you know, going into this, I wasn't sure, you know, we were looking at a 3% raise, but I wasn't sure the commission makes the final decision on those raises. We make a recommendation, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So my two main objectives here are to gain consensus on how you all want to move forward for budgetary purposes and in terms of the options as laid out before you. And then note that the outliers are those that are highlighted in yellowish brown, and probably the one that does merits discussion, at least for me, because it has a budgetary impact, is the last highlight, and that's the Marina Manager, and that's just open, no dollar amount. So would want to get your guidance on, given the resignation of the previous Marina Manager, how you all want to move forward with that, either by hiring a new one, promoting within, or not filling the position and having another director oversee the marine operation. So right now that's open, hoping we could have some discussion on that and get your guidance on that.
My preference at this time, and we can go down the line. My preference at this time is to leave it open. I would like to see Director Wepfer have her office in the marina, as she has done in the past, and oversee the marina if there are problems. For the most part, we're selling fuel there. Occasionally you'll have issues with the boats that are docked and the people coming in to launch boats and whatnot. But for the most part, that's a fuel depot. And it's well-staffed now, and I don't think we need to put that money back into the budget myself.
I think one of the things that they did was with Mr. Crabtree, one person would open and one person would close, so you've got people dealing with money. So I don't know if having another assistant marina manager would make sense, so you have an opening and a closing person.
I don't see where we need another assistant manager. Again, we're working towards taking ourselves top-heavy in a department that sells fuel. That's just my thought.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. First, I look at this, and not that I disagree putting Megan in the marina is a bad idea, but I look down this list and I count, she has 20 reports, direct reports going down this list. She's our newest director, and she doesn't have an assistant yet. So if we're going to do that, let's make getting her assistant a top priority, because if you remember correctly, her previous boss we thought that was too much for him to handle all those departments at one time. I disagreed with that, but that was one of the things that was brought up, and that's why we invented this new marina director, marina manager position. I'm not going to put Krabby on the spot, but I'm sure Krabby pretty much after, how many years now, Krabby? How long you been there? I'm sorry, Mr. Crabtree, I apologize. I've never called you anything other than Krabby, but 18 years, I think he's probably got most of the ins and outs of the marina down pretty well and can handle any crisis that comes up. And yeah, I mean, if we want to put Megan to oversee it, that's terrific, but I think we're in pretty good hands over there right now. I'm not saying, close the position, keep the position open. I wouldn't attach a dollar figure to it if we decide at some point to refund it. I mean, we can do that in the middle of the year. We can do it tomorrow. I mean, it's not, it's nothing. I'd say let's put a placeholder in there right now for it. I do, again, want to point out that I'm not real comfortable with our newest director having 20 direct reports, being on the job 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Is that somewhere around there? Okay. We're heaping a lot onto her, and I know she can handle it, but let's just be cognizant of that we've got to do something there to alleviate what's going on with her, and if that's getting her an assistant right away, so be it. The only other thing about that, did I have anything? No, that's all on the Marina. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Her assistant, I signed off on the hiring paperwork today for her assistant, so.
Okay.
And I did talk to Mr. Crabtree, and they do have opening and closing handled right now. They're staffed well.
And, you know, we need to do a little more on this also, and I will say, Ms. Webfer has been doing that job a whole lot longer than 6 or 8 or 12 weeks. She's been doing that job for years in reality. She knows that job. She knows the Marina job. That was home to her. And I've got to ask her how she feels about this also. Would you like to come up and talk to the commission? Then if you want to throw rocks, that's okay, but I'm going to hide behind Doug when you do.
If I may, while she comes up, if she does end up handling both positions over a period of time, that wasn't part of her original job description, so we would probably have to look at some type of a equitable arrangement pay-wise to cover the additional responsibilities.
I was thinking about maybe a new gator.
I have one, thank you.
Okay.
Honestly, you know, the Marina is handled. Krabby knows exactly what he's doing. We've worked side by side for years on helping each other out with things. Personally, as Mr. Andrews said, my plate is pretty full. Could I do it? Absolutely. But you've got a guy. Krabby knows what he's doing. I can help him with whatever is needed. I foresee, and this is my personal opinion, is put the Marina underneath the finance department and have the Marina Manager, Marina Assistant, whomever, report to the finance department. That's who they deal with the most. That's who does the paperwork, the finances. I don't really think that it needs to be under the control of the Public Works Director the way that we used to have it. There's not enough room for me and my assistant at the Marina. It's cramped in there already, and for him to be able to do his job, he also needs a desk. So, I mean, I can help out over there with whatever is needed, whenever it's needed, but that's my personal opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
Well then,
Well, I would say temporarily, at least.
well, I guess we should ask Mr. Cade what he feels about that.
Well, what I'd like to do is, first I would say, it's open right now, let's leave it open.
Well, we got to give some direction of who's going to report, so.
Well, right now we have an assistant Marina Manager. Mr. Crabtree, can you come up to the podium, please, sir? I hate all these guys that are a foot taller than I am.
Can't help it.
What do you know about a high-dry storage facility? and constructing one?
I've been to several. I've researched quite a bit of them. The automated one, like you were having us look into, is a pricey way to go. The fork truck is the easiest and fastest way to go. It's just, it's the cost of operations goes up more because you have to have 2 drivers at least. Most high-end drives have 2 fork trucks to operate in case one goes down, things like that. So it's an initial investment is quite a bit.
Do you know how much the average high-dry storage facility pays out in boat repairs a year?
Yes, that is another revenue stream where they can use the forklift to maintenance boats, things like that.
No, in damaging boats.
Damaging? Hopefully not much if you got good drivers.
A few years back, before boats were $500,000 apiece, it was $250,000 a year on guys driving tow motors and damaging boats.
Yes. Oh, yes, I agree. You'd have to have somebody with a lot of
So-
experience, somebody you could trust. The automated way is probably the quieter and more, I would say, efficient way to go.
How is the marina for staffing right now?
Right now, we're good. Everybody, I got 2 guys that are fairly new, but they've stepped in real well, and they're doing very well. Still got full staffed on weekends, so we always got a dock hand there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're doing very well with that. They're very good. We got lucky with the new hires there.
Okay. Are you open right now?
He is there right now.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Does anyone else have?
Well, who do you think makes sense to report to? Finance department, or
Oh, in
are
the
you
past,
constantly talking to them anyway?
When Vince was here, that is who we reported to. Then was Vince, and then things changed with Dave, to where Dave went from Marina to Public Works, and then, he went directly to the city manager at that time.
Okay.
So, finance is really who we deal with a lot, just on everything from taxes to billing to, getting bills paid, getting money in. So finance is normally my number one call.
Well, Andrew, what do you think?
Okay. Well,
I know you won't be handling the day-to-day.
It's more of someone to report to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
things like that. You're still gonna have somebody running the marina as
I know, but he's
day-to-day operations and everything like that. As far as, getting fuel ordered, making sure the store's stocked, the staff is there, things like that. Finance would just do more of the, more budgeting and accounting things.
Right.
Well, we work together on that to see what we need and, what projects we want to work on.
I think operationally, nothing really changes from that perspective. I think looking at it from an internal control standpoint, who's going to, approve the invoices for payment, approve, a purchase order relating to Marina. And from that, that if Krabby is still the one that knows, this is who we bought from, it still makes sense for him to kind of assume that managerial role from a review and approval standpoint, and then our interactions with finance don't change. They still are what they are. So, I'm comfortable with going in that direction.
Well, honestly, I think this is a decision for the city manager to make. I don't think we need to make anything like that tonight. I would say just leave the manager, the Marina Manager position open for right now, and just.
Okay. Yep.
We'll, that's something we can discuss at another meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
When you say leave it open, just to clarify, we'll budget for it. We'll have that position budgeted for, but open.
Well, it's not in the budget right now. I don't see putting it in. We can always pull it in later, can't we?
If you wanted to, we could either budget for it or we could not budget for it, and then if you decide down the road that we want to hire a new marina manager or director, then we could make an amendment. We could do a budget amendment.
Yeah, me personally, that's what I was thinking. Just keep the position labeled. I wouldn't put a dollar figure next to it right now. And if we circle back around and all of a sudden a candidate lands on our lap that can't miss, that can do more than one thing and can oversee the marina as well, then maybe we have a little bit of money there to start and try to figure out where we can position somebody. As far as, I think we're in great hands. Like I said, I've always thought that Mr. Crabtree had a pretty good understanding of of the operations over there at the marina. I'd never thought that there was a real reason to put I've been outspoken about it before in the past. There was never really a reason after the central services director left to bring in a separate director for that. That was another made-up position based on that Marina audit, or Marina thought that we've all realized, and as we've gone down the road, that wasn't really legitimate. So I'd say keep it open. Don't assign a dollar figure to it, and if we circle back around and we need to, I mean, we can do a budget amendment, bring up some money for it.
I'm all for that. So, at this point, I guess we need to take a look at whether we want option 1, 2, or 3. And I got to be honest, I was a little taken back when I saw option 3 at $142,412, and then I got a thing today saying option 3 is $180,612. And I know you said 10K was city manager, another $6, or you said 6,000 in August?
For that August pay rate change that didn't get properly reflected in the first version, correct? Yep. And then,
Okay.
And the last is the permit clerk going from part-time to full-time and moving that from $15 an hour to $19 an hour in option 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, plus going from what, was it 20 hours, Frank, roughly? 25 hours to 40 hours? Okay, so that's the balance of the difference?
That probably covers well over 90% of it, yep.
Okay. So, has anyone got any input on their preference for option 1, 2, or 3?
I was gonna go for option 1. I don't think that's that much of a price difference, and 3%, not really big, in my view.
I do believe last year we gave them 4%, was it?
I believe it was 2% last year.
Okay.
That's, well, not really that big. $20,000 is a lot of money to me.
Well, when you've got 70 employees, I don't think it's that much. I don't know. I think we need to keep our good people. I think we got a bunch of good people working for us.
I think this does it. I think this gets the lower end of the scale up there. You've got to consider too that we're furnishing insurance, which is a big bonus. That's around $800 or $900 a month per employee, and if you go to the private sector now, you'll be hard pressed to find a company that's paying 100% of their employees' insurance. So I'm just one vote.
Yeah. Can I add something real quick? You know, first off, guys, I brought this up last week, and I'll bring it up again. I am thrilled that you guys kind of humored me and we went through this exercise, because it's been something I've been pretty passionate about for 2.5 years up here, and everybody just waved their wand and said, oh yeah, that looks good, and we move on. It's really eye-opening, though, when you take a look at this and you see where our money is going, and you see certain things that stand out that we're also not addressing. But Andrew, please, the next time that you do this, leave people's names off of it, because people get emotional when they see names attached to certain positions, and you know there's a couple different ways to look at it. But I do want to thank you guys, because I think, number one, this shows a lot of what I've been talking about over the past couple of years, where we've seen this escalating scale. Some of it, you know what? Some of it is attributed to raises. Don't get me wrong. Some of it is attributed to people changing positions, moving from different departments and getting a raise. That's all well and good. But I think what this is a great snapshot of where we are currently and what we can do. Am I thrilled that we're going up in budget? No, I'm not, but I think we've listened to our employees here, where a few of them came to us. We're in a dire situation where our bottom half isn't keeping up with the top half, right? And we've watched and we've had a salary survey done where they came straight out to us and told us that we are top heavy. We were inventing positions in past eras. I told you exactly when, I could pinpoint the day that it happened when this pay scale got dumped on its head, when we started hiring people without experience to high-level positions, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and the next person that walks in, regardless of experience, all of a sudden assumes that pay scale, okay? Those days are over. And, you know, I think that by now, and we, you know, obviously have our directors on watch, that we're keeping a close eye on this, okay? Me personally, you know, if the fire chief wants to raise the pay of his assistant, and we got money in the budget to do so, that's great. That person was a victim of the former city manager and didn't get a timely raise. So we're not going to, you know, this is a great employee. We're not going to make her pay for somebody else's mistakes on that end and for being a loyal employee and sticking with us while we went through this. So I'm all for that particular raise that I saw on the board here. You know, there's a couple others that I'm not thrilled with, but we're not going to tackle everything tonight. I think if I were going to pick an option, truthfully, I would probably go with option one. I agree with the Vice Mayor and Commissioner Hodges. I think that's you know, kind of giving something back. But remember, guys, we've done something really, really awesome here. We actually didn't just wave our magic wand. We actually listened to what these guys needed in order to be successful, and we've given it to them. Now, it's up to y'all, okay, to deliver on this. Mm-hmm. But I think it's great. The other thing we're going to face, and I've heard a little grumbling about it, that some people are a little offended that the lower-end employees are catching up. Well, I've said to everybody that said that to me, that's terrific. You can tell anybody that's getting a raise to be quiet. You're getting a raise. You were doing the same job last year for this point. Just because somebody else is getting bumped up underneath you, just keep doing your job. In the private sector, you wouldn't know what the person next to you is making unless they told you. So, you know, this is just trying to bring some equity to the situation, trying to make us stronger as a whole. And like I said, as more money comes in and we're able to afford more, I think there's going to be more things. But I think, you know, again, we got to get back to where we were. That's why I bought up 2017. That's why I bought prior up. We got to get back to the point where we're, you know, we've got supervisors, but we also have the most important people, which is our ground people, the people on the ground doing the work. And that's what we've gotten away from. And I'm so glad that we've done this, and you guys can see this now, and now we can kind of start pointing towards that direction. I'm sorry I took up too much time, but thank you for listening.
No, you didn't at all, and it made me think about something while you were talking, Doug. I hate to interrupt you other guys, but what just crossed my mind is that maybe perhaps we should go to the $15 mark, $15 and below, are really the folks that need to be bumped up, giving those people below $15 a 3% and above 15 a 2% to help raise the ones that are at the lower levels. It's just a thought. That would be just below that first highlighted line. Something to think about while we're discussing anyhow.
You mean instead of giving them a dollar raise? I think for people, so right now option one would be $2.50 raise for anyone below $13, $1.50 raise per hour raise for anyone in the $13 to $15 range, and then over 15 or 15 to 17, a $1 raise. I mean, I think the $1 raise is better than the 3%.
Well, now, yeah, but I'm looking at some of these. I see, for instance, a recreation leader one. They're at course, I guess, well, those are showing vacant. $12.50 for option 1, $12.50 for option 2, and $12.50 for option 3. So.
That's because they got the $2.50 increase,
Okay.
which is a bigger
All right.
increase than a percentage.
Okay. I
I envision next year, after we do this exercise this time, I think next year, we take let's take an example, $200,000 worth of increases, say we're the same spot next year. I would like to see every department head get a fixed amount of money, depending on the amount of employees they have, and let them decide who the rock stars are and pay them more, who stays the same, and frankly, who goes down, you know?
That's the way it used to be. They used to
Well,
do it like that, yeah.
we need to give our leaders, the department heads, they know who's doing really good.
Right.
So by us just giving 2%, 3%, you know, I mean, I think that power needs to go to them, and they have to justify anyone that makes a big, you know.
Well, odds are if they're going down, they should probably be going out.
Maybe that's how you get them out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
But,
I worked,
okay, I
where I
stand.
worked, that's exactly what they did, and they divided everybody 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That's what we had to do, so, but anyway, and if they want to spread it out evenly, that's fine. If they want to give bonuses to somebody or whatever, that's fine, you know, leave it up to the people that are running their own employees. Who's got the good attitude, who's got the stuff that doesn't show up necessarily on paper. Maybe we'll talk about that in 6 months, so that we'll have a scheme in mind and give everybody notice so that they can start taking notes on who does something fabulous and who does something stupid, you know? Because you can't just think back a whole year and decide which one of my employees, you know, is a rock star, but anyway. I'm still for option 1.
Well, Commissioner Hodges, do you have any input on this?
I just wanted to go with that option 1. I think that's really important. We've got a lot of good people working here. I hate to see them move and go to another city, you know, and it's only because of the pay rate itself. So I would go with option 1 altogether.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree. I don't think that's going to happen. Commissioner Hudson?
With the cost of living increases that we've seen this year, I guess I'm leaning towards option 1, but my take on it is, we've talked before on we're top heavy. It's not quite as apparent when you look at the numbers, whatever, because we have a lot more in the $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 range than I ever thought we did. But we could do something like option 1 for the $17 up to whatever the $60,000 number is, and then people above that only do 2%. They're probably still getting as much money as the lower people, because it's a bigger percentage, or it's a percentage of a bigger number. But if that of knocking down the 20,000 to something a little more palatable, we could do that.
Yeah, well, that's basically what I just brought up until I was promptly corrected by Vice Mayor Price that the ones that are on the lower end of the scale are already getting a larger raise.
Yeah.
So,
$17 person is getting if there was a $17 person, they're getting a 6.88% raise, and everybody below them is getting something larger than that.
no.
So we gotta start moving them up, because we're looking at that $15 an hour in the future anyway.
Yeah.
So let's start making these adjustments, and
Well, My preference is option 3, but, is there a motion on the floor to vote on one of these options?
Yeah, just one thing, Mr. Mayor, before we press on. Anybody that's outside, either, this is, and I apologize, I don't mean this personally. It's just sloppy for me that we have people that are outside of their min-max range, and we're just overlooking it. So we either have to reclassify, there's a few people that are, even with their proposed rates, are $2, $3, $4 an hour over what they should be, because nobody made the correction when they were an interim supervisor before. So all I'd ask is we either reclassify that person so that they fit into the scale, so when we look at this next year, I don't have the top of my head blow off. And we either reclassify them or move them down to the maximum of their position title. It's just sloppy to present any kind of document like this for us to take seriously if we're not following our own rules.
I agree, and I thought we discussed last time about if you were already at the top of your pay grade, you weren't getting a raise. That's what we talked about the last meeting.
Yeah, we need to make sure that happens.
Well,
And I don't like this idea of moving people into changing their job position just because they need a raise, right? That, you need to earn that. Hopefully we have job descriptions for all these things, and the director or manager can prove that that person is doing all the things on that new position. Changing people's position so that they can continue to get raises doesn't sit well with me at all.
Commissioner Andrews, where are those? I'm looking on here.
Look on page 3 of 6. I think it's 3 of 6. Yes, 3 of 6. Head down, position park supervisor. We don't have a parks department, so I don't know what we're supervising there. But 1746 to 2750. The current rate's 3083. The option 1 rate is 3175. That's $4.25 an hour above the maximum of that position. Let's see, there was another one too I caught. No, they've reclassified that one, so that one's okay.
Was that just an overlook?
Well, no, there were 2, but there's only 1 now because they've reclassified the other person.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering if that one was an oversight.
That was the interim finance director.
Listed as park supervisor?
No, I'm sorry.
No.
The park supervisor was left over from the Parks Department, and there is a procedure for when somebody hits the pay grade that's in the handbook, and I believe they get a bonus, but they don't get a raise. And I'll pull that up and address it appropriately. That individual's also going to be retiring. I'm not sure if it's going to be within this fiscal year, but definitely within the next one. But we'll address it accordingly, and I'll report back to y'all what we're doing.
Well, that doesn't solve anything, because they've topped out.
Right,
so therefore we don't just give bonuses.
No, I understand, but we have to follow what the employee handbook says.
I'm sure that's not what our employee handbook says.
I'm not sure. I'm going to look it up, but I'll report back to y'all and let you know.
Yeah, there's another one, payroll finance coordinator. You're right, there's one there. That is, no, I'm mistaken. They're still in their pay grade.
No.
Okay. Is that the only one you saw, Doug?
So that's what we did then for Mr. Cade. We changed his job description so that now he's in it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's fine. We're going to reclassify them and put them into a different...
That's not how you...
Well,
you don't
he was
just give somebody a different job title.
Well, no, he has different responsibilities, where before he was just doing accounting, and now he runs the day-to-day operations of the finance department. So he is doing a different function.
That's why we have a
Well, our consultant oversees it, but he's not here. He's only here 1 day a week.
Right.
So.
But he's the man.
Well, yeah, he is the man, and that's why they made him an interim.
So who were finance people going to before they went to the assistant finance director?
They were going to the finance director at the time, and now we have a contractual one that is not here every single day, so if a problem comes up, they have to go to somebody, and that's Patrick Cate. I'll let Andrew explain it better than me. It's his department.
I mean, that's well said. I mean, he's running helping run the department on a day-to-day basis, especially in my absence. I mean, and ultimately, I mean, if the goal here is cost savings, I mean, this arrangement is yielding significant cost savings. If you look at the department as a whole, even in FY19, it was at 4.5 FTE. Now it's at 3, plus me contractually at a fraction of the cost of a finance director.
So we just wiped out the savings, in other words. So what did we find out about the park supervisor? Was that just an error paying her?
That was an error that was done that wasn't picked up, and now it's picked up, and like I said, I'll report back to you all exactly.
So that line's totally incorrect, because she's not getting a raise,
no.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
she's already well above her pay grade. And I love her to death. I hate that, but you know, we can't have it in place and then not go by it just because we like somebody.
So the point is very well taken on maxing out and not increasing pay beyond the max. But one thing we also should look at is if we have a cost of living increase, does that min-max range also increase in accordance with the COLA? Because if this was done 11 years ago and it's still the same min-max, even though cost of living has gone up, I think the thought, and I don't think this min-max from whenever this study has been done has been adjusted by inflation.
I can't imagine these ranges were from 11 years ago. Is that true?
No, that was just hypothetical, if you had one. I don't know the actual date. I think this was probably a few years ago.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate. Okay. Any other comment? Any comment from anyone in the audience? Is there a motion?
Oh, this is
Okay.
a workshop.
It was a workshop.
Well,
Okay, I was thinking it was a special meeting.
Overall, you just give me your consensus, your direction on.
I say 1.
Okay.
1.
3.
1.
1.
I will adjust the budget accordingly with these figures. Our next meeting to discuss for discussion is actually the first public hearing. Where I'll put forth the proposed millage rate and the tentative budget that'll reflect these numbers, and that'll be the next time we meet relating to the budget. Unless there's anything else you want to meet about before then, but that'll be our next meeting is next week. Because it sounded like we're feeling good with operating capital, and this was the last hanging issue.
Okay, does anyone else have anything?
Yes. We were supposed to have a report on dredging of Johns Pass. We still haven't gotten that. With the additional money that we have in the 2021 budget, we want to put some of that aside for dredging or anything.
Commissioner Hudson, that's still being worked on. I have a private meeting coming up this Thursday. So until we have worked things out, I can't give you an answer. The city is not planning on paying for any of this. As far as I'm concerned, the city can't afford to pay for it. We're trying to work with the Corps of Engineers and the county and the private property owner and FDOT. So, that's really something we can't address right now.
Okay,
And
that's fine.
I'll get back to the commission as I find things out that I can discuss with you.
Okay.
Thank you. Having no other business, this meeting is adjourned at 5:50.